everyone, so today I wanted to do a requested video that was talking a little bit about the transition into college. I'm actually a junior now. My major is pharmacy, so it's 6 years, so really I'm only like halfway done with my program, but still this is my 3rd year in college, so I do know a bit about the ins and outs of everything. So I'm just going to start by talking about, well, I'll tell you, I applied to 5 colleges overall. And what really helped me to figure out which one was right for me was to visit the schools. I think it's essential to take a tour. Even though on tours it's what the school wants you to see, you still need to see the campus and get a feel, because you can just tell either if you see kids walking around and talking, or just, I don't know, it's just a very visual thing where you're able to imagine if you could see yourself actually like walking to class, hanging out in the dining hall, studying in the library, stuff like that. I don't know, it just helps you place yourself there rather than just imagine it. Like, say for example, you always thought Brown or Yale or Harvard, like one of the Ivy Leagues, or even like a liberal arts school, always looked a certain way or it had a certain vibe. If you go there, it could be completely different than what you thought, in a good way or a bad way, so you don't really know unless you're there. So definitely taking tours is helpful while applying. I think it's necessary. And then eventually you start to narrow it down. Some schools right away you can tell. One school that I went to, it was too small and not like enough opportunity that I wanted, because I thought about studying abroad for a while, which is another thing that I would recommend. Everybody that does it loves it. And how many times when you're working in real life will you get to travel? You know, for some people it's a lot, for some people it's... Yeah, you definitely want to apply to a couple. And I wouldn't have your heart set on one school necessarily, especially before touring, because you don't know. And also, if you get your hopes on one school and then something doesn't work out, you don't know that you're not going to be equally as happy in another school. Which, I mean, the school that I thought I was going to go to, I didn't end up going to. So that, I don't regret it. I think it was actually a good thing, but I still got to visit the school and see it. So that dream school, after visiting all these schools, after, you know, maybe starting at one school and not liking it, it's okay to transfer. I wouldn't make the transfer decision necessarily right away, because a lot of people do get homesick and just it's hard for them to transition into college. For me, I loved it. Like, I didn't really get homesick until right before Thanksgiving, because that was the first time I could go home. But no, I was just enjoying being on my own, having my own schedule, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. Freshman year at orientation, I decided I can pick any class time I want. This is going to be just like high school. Let's just get everything out of the way in the morning. So, foolish me signed up for 8 a.m. every single day of the week. Now, that was horrible. In high school, I would go to bed pretty early, but in college, even if you try to go to bed early, it's still later than you're early in high school. And I'm somebody that needs like a lot of sleep. Like, I love my 8 hours of sleep. I thrive on that. So for me, 8 a.m.s is not the best thing. I was kind of like a zombie. I would pretty much every day, like my first class would be at 8 a.m. and then maybe my next one would be at 11 or something. I would usually, or later than that, I would come back and I would have to take a nap because I was just so tired. So if you can get into that pattern, it's good, but still, I felt very worn out. I wasn't really rested, although I did do really well in my first semester grade-wise, so I don't know if getting up early and having that motivation helped. But definitely pick a schedule that works for your needs. Sometimes with really late classes, if you're a sleeper and you sleep in and you're not doing homework when you could be at like 1 in the afternoon, if your class is at 3, you know, that's probably not the best either. It all depends, like, when you work best, when you do your homework. Some people do homework late at night and stay up. I get to like a certain time and then I have to stop doing homework. I can't do it anymore. because I like to do something non-school related, like right before I go to bed, just to clear my mind and, you know, be able to sleep and focus and everything, refresh myself mentally and physically. So that's my strategy for classes. But I was in a lot of AP and honor stuff. The different thing is here is that for the most part, depending on your major, it's less like written assignments and more just like studying for things that you have to do on your own. So it's a lot of self-motivation, and if you can get into the habit now of like studying for things maybe like a week ahead of your actual test, it's great, especially if you're in a really is to also balance out your school life with your social life and the clubs that you join. You should definitely try to join at least one club right away. Even if you don't think you're going to stick with it or like it, you definitely want to try out something, because otherwise you have all this free time. Like, a lot of people try to compare school to a 40-hour a week job. They say that's how much you should work and time you should spend on school. For me, maybe I'd have like 16, 18 hours of class, which means that's like more than 20 hours a week to study or do homework. I don't really strictly adhere to that. As long as I just feel sufficiently prepared for a test, then, you know, that's fine. You want to put in enough work, but not too much, because I've also like overstudied for things before, and then I jumble up the information, and that's bad too. Moving on, just gonna say, I think also another thing that's essential is to have a roommate your freshman year. As much as you might want a single, for me, I'm not exactly an introvert or an extrovert. I'm kind of in the middle. But I always, like, if I'm friends with somebody and I go around with them and meet new people, I'm so much more outgoing because I have that person that I know. I don't know if it's just like a comfort thing or whatever, but having a roommate, even if you're not friends with them, or if you are, it just lets you know how you can get along with people, compromise with people, or still just like meet different people through their friends, through your friends. I got along with my roommate really well. We're still really, really good friends. So I was lucky. Some people don't have the best situations, but most of the time you can learn to compromise and figure out what's best if you talk to your roommate. When people don't talk to their roommate and exchange dirty looks and do all that, that's really just... Since I'm in a major that's kind of cliquey and we all have classes together, I kind of wish that I had tried to meet more people outside of my major, because now all I see are the people in my major, and while they're wonderful people, it's still... You need some variety. Like, you don't want to always hear about, the tests or the worries or the same concerns that you have. Like, it's good to hear other people say, oh, well, I have this project, and then you can ask them or maybe help them out if you want to. I don't know. It's good to have that separation and different groups of friends. I've always been sort of a nomad. I feel like in high school, like, I would have a core, like, close group of friends, but I would still wander out and, like, have acquaintances or pretty good friends in other areas. And I'll just mention the freshman 15, if you come to college and you're suddenly eating differently, or if you say you were an athlete and then now you're not doing any sports, that's also hard, and I feel like that and stress and just eating it, that can contribute to you gaining weight or the freshman 15, but that's not a guarantee. It's just how you take care of yourself. That's another thing why I suggest trying to join one club, because if you were really involved in a sport and then or something, a club, an activity, and then you go to college and you don't do anything, that'll make the homesickness even worse, because you just feel like you lost that part of your life. High school was so much better. For me, college was 10 times better. So try to get involved. and something, and then you'll be less homesick, you'll be meeting people, you won't feel like you're missing out on anything, you'll have stuff to do, and it just opens a bunch of new windows and doors. And if it's, you know, like a physical activity, then you're staying active, you're staying fit, and you're happy just because of the endorphin effect of exercise anyway. So exercise releases endorphins, and happy people just don't kill anybody. Legally blonde quote. Moving on. Social life. In high school, I was not a partier at all. I did go to a private school. It was just something that at the time I didn't feel it was necessary. Drinking, whatever, I don't know. It just seemed a little too soon for me, and it wasn't highly prevalent, or at least like I wasn't invited to that stuff. But when I came to college, I was nervous about that. My brother was always like, "Oh, you're not gonna fit in," which was a horrible thing for him to say, or he thought I would really struggle with the fact that like everybody was drinking and participating in other activities of the partying realm. But no, I really didn't. The first few weeks of school, basically in my school, people wander around the streets of our campus like looking for something, because we have a couple of fraternities on campus, so people would wander there, or like at the top of campus there's apartments too, so people would try to get in there. So for a while that's sort of what the scene is. But yeah, having a roommate, if I had a roommate that stayed in and didn't go out and try to find parties, I feel like I wouldn't have opened myself up to that and like been anti-party even longer. I wasn't anti-partying, I hadn't been exposed to it before. But no, anyway, I started giving it a chance going out. At first I would just go you know, so we're not drinking, and some parties are still a blast. It's fine. You can definitely go to parties and not drink and have a good time. I especially just love music and talking to people, so, you know, for me that's fun. But if you do decide to drink, which I do from time to time, that's also fun. It's just that you have to be safe about it, obviously. Make sure that it's definitely better to keep watch over what you are drinking yourself. Don't let other people give you stuff that you don't know, don't trust. You know, I would keep your hand over your cup. I was kind of paranoid for the first few parties that I went to. That's what I did. But yeah, be responsible. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Any of that. It's just, you want to be as safe as you can. You can still drink, because a lot of people, basically everyone does. Well, it depends where you go to school. If you go to a really conservative school, maybe they don't. But my school used to be a bigger party school. Now it's not as much anymore. More of the parties are like off campus, but it's still a fun experience. The people that you can meet at parties can really change your life if you meet them in the right context. Or you can make really good friends. My one best friend is a nursing student. She's met a lot of different people at parties throughout the years, and now she has friend groups all over. So it's really cool. It's definitely a networking thing too. So yeah, that's the basic points I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any other questions about school or any of that, leave them below and I will answer them. I tried to cover like as much as I can, but there are so many areas to college life and living in school that it's hard to like condense into one video. So I hope you have an excellent day, and I'll see you guys later.